Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
Woo. That was a game last night, Skip.
That was a game, and that was a development yesterday.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Safe to say the situation with John Gruden, the Raiders, it escalated very quickly yesterday, all unfolding last night, and we will get to the latest right now. So here it is. Following the emergence of more offensive emails from the past 10 years, John Gruden has resigned as head coach of the Raiders. In a statement, Gruden said, quote, "I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone." Shannon, this all happened last night, and you've had an evening to think about it. Your reaction to this?
Well, I'm not surprised. I believe this was Mark Davis's only choice that he had. I'm surprised that Mark Davis had these emails on Friday, and while he allowed John Gruden to coach.
Thank you.
Because he thought this was going to blow over. He had no idea that this thing was gaining speed like a truck going downhill at 60 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. So this was his only choice, and it gave him an opportunity to get out from under that albatross of a contract because John Gruden was never going to pay that contract off with Super Bowls. Skip, and I have John Gruden's statement here. He says, "I resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, and staff and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone." John Gruden. Not to offended groups. I want to apologize for my hurtful and insensitive remarks. I realize that my comments hurt a lot of people. And I want to sincerely, I didn't mean, yes, you did, because the people that when you use those terms, you might have didn't mean to hurt those groups, but you meant those in a derogatory way when you were describing the people that you were talking about. Come to Skip, you're a head coach, and I granted, obviously he didn't know at the time that he was going to go back to coaching, and he's going to have an openly gay player on his roster. I said, we talked about this yesterday, Skip. I said it's going to be very hard for him to stand before all those black men, having said that, and lead effectively.
Yep.
I'm like, and I had a bad moment. Come to find out, you had 7 years of bad moments. I don't have one racist bone in my body. I don't know how many racist bones you got, but I know you got a very insensitive and a racist tongue in your mouth. Yep. We do know that.
And the emails took place over 7 years.
Over 7 years. So
2018.
So think about this, Skip. So it's not he said he had a bad moment.
Yeah.
Come to find out, you had 7 years of bad moments over a period of time where you use this. Now, I don't want people to think that John Gruden is the only one. Now, there's a lot of people in NFL offices scrubbing emails right now. That's what they do, Skip, because this is the way you talk amongst friends. What would possess you to send that? Now, I'm sure, Skip, he did not think the person that he was sending to would be in the organization that would be the focus of a criminal probe. He had no idea that was going to happen. Yep. Now, this might be collateral damage. This might be something more serious out there that they didn't let out, and John Gruden had to go down for this one. Because it's hard for me to believe. Of 650,000 emails, this is all you got? Ain't got nothing on the owner? But we'll talk about that. I'm sure we're going to talk about this another day on time, Skip. That's coming down the pipeline. He clearly does not feel that what had transpired should have cost him his job. He doesn't want to be a distraction. Damn what he said, Skip. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to be a distraction. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm sorry for what I've said. Yeah. Not that I shouldn't have said this. But I don't want to be a distraction. And right now I'm being a distraction. Skip, I just don't get it. This is John Gruden. This is who he is. Now, I need all those. See, now, I had a problem with this. It seems to me a lot of his former and current players, a lot of his current and former coaches, and a lot of colleagues rush to his defense. Now, I need them to rush to the defense of the people that he offended when he was sending those emails. The blacks, the LGBTQ community, and the women. I need them to stand up for them like they stood up for John Gruden yesterday, and the day before, and the day before that. Where are they now? Ain't nobody saying nothing about them. It was old poor John Gruden. Oh, man, that's not the John I Skip. Just one time. Have you ever heard somebody say something racist, something misogynistic, something homophobic, and say, yeah, that's who I am? Or do they always say, that's not me? I don't have that type of bone in my body. Just one time I want somebody to tell the truth. Skip, when you come with an apology offered without explanation, all he had to do was say, I was wrong. I said some things that I shouldn't have said. But as I told you yesterday, Skip, I said he's trying to get out in front of something. I say something more serious is coming down the pipeline. I had no idea what the information that Mark Davis had already had, but I knew it was when somebody says, I might have said some other things too, with no dry snitching on himself to try to go ahead and get out in front of it. But Skip, this was the only thing that Mark Davis could have done. There's no way, because he was going to try and survive this, because not only is John Gruden his coach, he's a very close friend of Mark Davis. And so with that being said, he's going to try to salvage it, but he just couldn't. He knew it. The fallout was too great, and he did the only thing that he could. But don't think that he wanted to do this. I don't want people patting Mark Davis on the back. This was the only route that he could take. It was the only door that would open, and he walked through it.
Okay, I'm going to start where you finished with Mark Davis. I had the privilege of getting to know his father, the late, great Al Davis. And he had his faults, did Mr. Davis.
Yes.
But those faults, including being anti-league, because he was the ultimate original Maverick. He had a little outlaw in him.
He did.
But he rebelled against the league for reasons that you could argue were in some ways justified. And yet, when it came to being progressive as a thinker and a doer, he led the way. And all I know is that I covered Mr. Davis's Raiders from about 2001. It was Chucky's time there, Gruden's time, through 04-ish. And you realize who his right-hand person was in that franchise.
Yeah, Bruce Allen.
No, we got to go up one more. Amy Trask.
Okay, yes,
So
okay, yeah.
Al Davis was the first that I know of to say, I want a woman to be my right hand.
Yes.
To be.
I worked with her at CBS.
Yes. Okay, you did.
I did.
I forgot about that.
I know Amy very well.
Okay, but she was there starting in 1997. He elevated her into the primary position beneath him. Now, Bruce Allen was there, who became the confidant and cohort of John Gruden.
Correct.
As the buffer between Al and John.
Correct.
And remember, those two, Al Davis and John Gruden, they began to clash right away.
Yes.
And there were some, I witnessed the end of one coming off the practice field. They would have out-and-out screaming matches on the practice field in front of the players. But Al Davis was very progressive when it came to open-minded thinking that was not prevalent in the early days of the National Football League.
Arshell.
Yeah, thank you. Arshell.
He went to historically black institutions in college and got players.
Okay. And Al Davis did.
Al Davis did,
and he hired Arshell to be his head coach.
Yes, he was very progressive in his thing.
I can't remember, was Art the first?
In the modern era.
Yes, he was in the modern era. That is correct. Okay, so you got to give the father high marks.
Absolutely.
High marks.
Yes.
The son, not so much.
Right.
He chased John Gruden for about 7 years while John was the primary voice on Monday Night Football for ESPN.
Correct.
And finally landed him in 2018 for, as you pointed out, $10 million a year for 10 years.
Yes.
Historic contract.
Correct.
And you would think that having associated with John as long as he did, he kind of grew up, they were like brothers, you could argue.
Right.
That he would know John's mindset, off-camera mindset.
Of course.
He would socially sort of know what he was made of, what he was all about. Now, I've told you, I got to know John a little bit in my days at ESPN, and I was with him in some casual settings, but they were ESPN sort of party settings.
Right.
And I think he was careful with what he was saying, but he could really talk ball, and that's why. And obviously, he was really good on television.
Yes.
And I do not doubt, and we'll get to this a little later, I do not doubt that John will pop back up at some point on television somewhere.
I don't know how, Skip.
Okay, there'll be some network that will have a place for that. I just warn you, it will come at some point. It may be 5 years from now, but after it, quote unquote, blows over, I don't know how you can like he touched every bay. I don't know how many, what's left to offend, maybe some religious groups.
Correct.
Right? Okay, so I'm disappointed that Mark Davis could take so long, and I think even Adam Schefter was reporting the league was beside itself waiting because the ball was in his court.
Yes.
We talked yesterday, how do you punish him? Well, he's punished himself. He's tarnished his legacy.
Right.
And I just thought it was any moment now, Mark Davis will say, well, I can't go forward because how did the team respond Sunday's game against the Chicago Bears.
They laid an egg.
They laid an egg because their hearts were no longer in it, because they said all the right things as far as supporting Gruden, because I think they were afraid of him, frankly. And again, some of his ex-players, the great Tim Brown said, not one time did he ever make me feel any certain type of way, or, you know, and everybody defended him. Mike Tirico on NBC, Tony Dungy on NBC. They said what he said was wrong, but let's forgive and forget and go forward. We had no idea the avalanche that was about to hit.
But think about it, Skip, and this is another point that I wanted to make. When he said this about the black, it's about give and forgive and forget. When he made those homophobic, when those gay slurs, when he said what he said about women, that was a bridge too far. All I'm saying is that I mean,
I told you yesterday, I thought the bridge too far had already been crossed.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, but it wasn't.
And the black players showed you, or at least let's do black and white players. All of the players showed you on Sunday. Their hearts were no longer in supporting this guy.
But, Skip, if you think about it, it wasn't the outrage. It was a little bit of outrage. And he tried to explain it away, said I was basically saying D. Smith is a liar.
Yep.
But when it came to these misogynistic, when it came to these homophobic, now all of a sudden, the groundswell. And what I'm saying is, I believe all minorities should be treated equally. The LGBTQ community shouldn't carry more weight than the women community or the black community or the Asian community. And it seems to be what's happening, Skip, because the groundswell wasn't like it was when he said that, what he said about D. Smith. Everybody's like, well, you know, that might have been. But when it came to the other group, Lord, that's a bridge too far. We can't cross that one.
Yeah, but let's not try to sort of qualify each of the offenses.
No, that's what I'm saying. We all, because if we're minorities, we all should be. I'm all about fairness, Skip. For me, the way you act, you come in here, you talk to security, you talk to maintenance, you talk to all of them like you do Shanks, like you do Charlie Dixon, like you do Witt. I treat everybody the same, Skip, because that's how I would want to be treated. So all I'm saying is let each minority group community carry the same amount of weight. Okay, you should be outraged equally.
Well,
that's
obviously,
all.
The first that should have been outraged were those in his locker room.
Correct, and I believe they were.
And they were. And by the way, how painfully ironic that Carl Nassib, first openly gay player, is sitting in the locker room. Okay.
But he had no, Skip, he had no idea, no knowledge of this. He had no knowledge of this. Because can you imagine had this come out and they asked Carl Nassib, what would he have thought? So that's going to be very interesting because you know that's coming on Wednesday, Skip.
It will come.
You know that's coming.
I would agree. Okay, so I'm reading the New York Times avalanche of emails, the reporting, and let's qualify this. This reporting had to come from a leak from somewhere.
Yes.
So somebody who had the goods, because it was an NFL investigation into workplace misconduct within the Washington football team.
Correct.
And we've heard lots about that misconduct. In so doing, they confiscated or commandeered all the emails, and Bruce Allen is emailing John Gruden out of his Washington football account, right?
Correct.
So it's there, and there's still a trail of that left by Bruce Allen, who's no longer with the organization.
Right.
And so they find these, and they leak originally to the Wall Street Journal on, what was it, Friday? The racist one. And then it was almost like, okay, Mark, you didn't move. You're still sitting still with your hands tied behind your back. You're not going to do anything about this. And it almost came across to me that somebody upstairs said, okay, if that's not enough, try this. Boom. Bombshell it.
Correct.
Right? Just lay it out there.
Yes.
And the New York Times was the beneficiary of this bombshell.
Correct.
So here we go. And so I'm reading the New York Times last night, and their summation of these emails. Taken together, the emails provide an unvarnished look into the clubby culture of one NFL circle of peers, where white male decision makers felt comfortable sharing pornographic images, deriding the league policies, and jocularly sharing homophobic language. It goes on to say their banter flies in the face of the league's public denouncements of racism and sexism.
But they'll paint the end zone now. You're going to end racism and end hate and Black Lives Matter in the end zone.
And goes on the New York Times. And its promises to be more inclusive amid criticism for not listening to the concerns of black players who make up about 70% of the rosters. So I keep reading, and then I get to this little nugget. Some of the emails between Gruden and Allen also included businessman friends. One is the co-founder of Hooters. The next is the longtime executive director of the Outback Bowl, which is held in Tampa, Florida, where John was the coach for a long time. And the founder of PDQ Restaurants, a Tampa-based fried chicken franchise. Well, this is the ultimate sort of good old boy network. This is a little email network in which they are sharing slurs.
Very comfortable.
Yeah.
Now, this is not, like I said, Skip. Now, obviously, if he feels comfortable enough to put this in an email, imagine when he's just around them face to face, the conversations that they're having. They're probably a lot more graphic and a lot more detailed than what he shared in an email, which he's, like I said, to take time. You know what? I mean, as you're reading it, you're type of like, I don't know if I should send this. I mean, man, this might be a trail. But you're not thinking, Skip, well, what if they come up on the criminal? You don't think, Skip, you're not thinking like that.
I don't think that.
No. It's just like anytime you get mad at somebody, you send them an email, I hate you, you make me sick, and the first thing you see, that shows up on TMZ, or that shows up in some tabloid or something.
Okay. So, finally, it came down to Mark Davis having to tell John, I'm going to give you the opportunity to resign. Right? Because let's be honest, it was over.
It was over.
He was effectively fired, but allowed by his very close friend, his quote-unquote brother, Mark Davis, to resign to try to preserve what's left of his legacy and image. Right? So what does then transpire? Elevated is Rich Bisaccia, who was the assistant head coach, to be the interim head coach. And we still have a bunch of football games left, right? We're only 12 games left. 12 games left. And this disturbed me because Rich Bisaccia has been John's right-hand man for a long time, dating back to his time in Tampa. He's always been a special teams coach, but he's always been the assistant head coach. Well, like-minded, I don't know. It's disturbing that we could go from John Gruden, what we now know that has been exposed about him, to one of his closest friends, Rich Bisaccia, has been elevated. Well, wouldn't you want to separate yourself from...
You would probably think so when you're being John Gruden's best friend for probably better part of 2 decades.
That is correct.
And if he's had conversations with Bruce Allen and others, I can assure you he's had conversations with Bisaccia in the same context, if not more graphic. And that might not be emails, but I'm saying, Skip, the way we talk to our friends is one thing. And for you to take the time to put that down on an email... Really? And still, Skip, at what point in time is he going to say, you know what? He needs to do a sit down and say there to the offended groups, I offended you. I said some insensitive things. I want to apologize. Not that I didn't mean to hurt. Skip, that only matters to you. The groups that you offended is still equally offended whether you meant to do it or not. That's what I keep telling. Intent only matters to you. A group or a person is equally as hurt whether you meant to do it or not. Apologize sincerely. Offer without explanation. Bad moment, come to find out you had 7 years of bad moment. Now, I want to see how his former players and coaches and friends, how they say, you know what, that's not it, Skip. We get this all the time. People do things like, I've known him, he's been my neighbor for 20 years, and I never got that sense that he would do this, or he would. What was he supposed to do? Just come out and just be blasting, just saying things like this in public? Of course not. Stop pretending because you work with someone, you know that person. Because you don't, and then you vouch for him, and this more information comes out, it makes it like, well, you just said, you know, hey, let's move on. And that's the thing, Skip, why we got to move on? They said this about D. Smith, we got to just move on. Even Coach Dungy, I love Coach Dungy. He's a great man. But it seems to when people criticize our race, our minority group, the African-American, move on. Okay, they say move on. He said he was apologized. But can we get like some kind of ban? Can we get like a 6-month policy where we don't get to move on, that we hold people accountable?
The excuse was this was something that was uttered written 10 years ago.
Yes.
Well, then.
But this was written 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. You see? You'll see where I'm going with this, Skip. That's all I'm saying.
And I kept reading before this avalanche hit of, well, it's been 10 years, so he's grown through those 10 years. How? Because how was he forced to grow? Nobody knew what he needed to improve, right?
Very few people will stop a behavior unless they're forced to stop said behavior, Skip. That's normally how it happens. People just don't say, you know what, I'm doing wrong. I shouldn't be doing this. Let me stop. Drinking and driving, more times than not, it takes the police to catch you before you stop. Or if you're speeding, it takes the cops to catch you before you slow down. Whatever the behavior. My grandfather used to say, boy, given a choice to do right or wrong, and there's no one there to hold you accountable for the wrong, more times than not, people will do wrong.
I don't know. I could argue with that.
But see, you looking at greater intent. You talking about murder, robbery, and things of that nature. What about speeding? What about loitering? What about saying things that they shouldn't say? I'm saying just all those wrong. I'm not going to the higher end of the spectrum of wrongs. I'm talking about wrong. Because if it's wrong, it's wrong. We don't have to do degrees.
Okay. All right. Briefly, let's go back to the football field just for a moment.
Okay.
Where does Mark Davis now turn for his next savior of the Oakland Raiders, who, by the way, since they made it to that Super Bowl back in, what was it, the 03 season, they've made the playoffs. It was in 03. Right. 02 season.
Right.
They've made the playoffs one time since then.
Right.
Okay. So now where did they turn? You know, my guy Kellen Moore in Dallas is going to be at the top of a lot of lists. Joe Brady will be up there. Poor Eric Bieniemy, his name's going to get thrown out there again. Will this be the time that he finally breaks through and gets a job? I'm a fan of Gerard Mayo, who's only the linebacker coach for Belichick because his son appears to be coordinating the defense along with Bill. Byron Leftwich has got a shot, I would say, as that team gets better and better. And Doug Peterson is still sitting out there, a made man because he won a Super Bowl. And then my other guy at the University of Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley, is really good at what he does. And I think there's going to be a groundswell again to pull him out of college football because he's the one guy other than Doug Peterson who actually has been a head coach. So what's your gut? Where does it hit you? Who's the hottest probable candidate?
Well, NFL's probably going to be pushing, Mark. You're probably going to need to get a minority. I think that's kind of the direction I think the NFL is going to kind of push him in and kind of nurture him that way to give someone an opportunity that doesn't look like Coach Gruden, an opportunity to coach. And maybe Byron Leftwich, who calls plays.
He does.
Maybe it's a Gerard Mayo. Maybe it's an Eric Bieniemy. Maybe, who knows, Skip, but I think the NFL is going to push him towards that direction. Whether or not he goes in that direction is a different story. But for me, Skip, I don't want to throw too many bouquets at Mark Davis because he had this information on Friday. And I believe he did the only thing that he could do. And plus, he saves himself $60 million. Because I don't believe John Gruden was going to ever be able to play this off, Skip, with Super Bowls.
Well, so far, so bad.
It's just a bad look. Because like you said, the NFL has all these slogans, and you see them on their helmet, and you see them in the end zone, and come to find out behind closed doors, they're not practicing what they're preaching.
And it feels like we've made progress in so many ways. So I think that's why the emails made me so sick to my stomach in so many ways. And coaches are supposed to be the ultimate leader, right? And these words were just inexcusable in so many ways. We will continue to follow what the Raiders do next, their new leader, their new head coach. And we're going to right now shift back to what we saw last night.
No mercy.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens survived an overtime thriller last night as they beat the Colts 31-25. Baltimore trailed by 19 points early on before rallying in the fourth quarter to force overtime where Lamar threw the game-winning touchdown to this guy, Hollywood Brown. The former MVP finished with 4 passing touchdowns and a career-high 442 yards. So, Shannon, the Colts, they did have a chance to win it in regulation. They missed a field goal. Tough one over the weekend for so many of those kickers. So did Baltimore win this or did any lose it?
Baltimore won it. Skipping for the last 2 weeks, what we've seen is teams try to neutralize Lamar Jackson's legs. They say, you know what, Lamar, we're not going to let you and this Ravens offense run wild. If you can throw them to a victory, walk to the middle of the field, say, great job, young man. Hey, Hopefully we'll see you down the road. But that was a heck of a performance. He did that in Denver, Skip. Remember, it took the last play to get 8 yards in order for them to go over 100. But he threw for 316. So that was a game that they didn't win it with his legs. They won it with his arms. Clearly, the Colts came in last night and said, we believe last week was an aberration. We don't believe you could do it again. We're going to shut down the run. Lamar says, okay, you don't believe I can throw my team to a victory? Have it this. Skip, the first quarterback to complete 85% of his passes in a 400-yard game. The first quarterback with 400 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, no INTs, and 4 TDs. The highest completion percentage in a 40-pass game. Lamar Jackson did that. Now, I just knew Drew Brees was going to have this record, Skip, because we know Drew Brees has the highest completion percentage. And so I was just thinking, ain't no way somebody got a higher completion percentage in a 400-yard game than Drew Brees. And lo and behold, the guy that many wanted to switch positions, play running back, play wide receiver, did that. Also, I'm glad that Greg Roman gets to keep his job, because it seems when Lamar struggles, everybody wants to get rid of Greg Roman. But I said this before, Skip, if he can just get incrementally better, Skip, he does not need to be Tom Brady, because he possesses something that Tom doesn't have, which is legs. But if he can just get incrementally better, what we saw last night, Skip, he only had one bad throw. That was the touchdown that he missed to Hollywood Brown in the end zone early in the ball game. Other than that,
I'm going to get to that one in a second.
Skip, but other than that, everything was spot on. He was hitting guys between the letters. Guys stick their hands out. He was handing it to them. It's hard for me to say. I watched him in college. It's hard for me to say he had a better game in which he played than what he played last night, Skip. 442 yards. Guess who had the most passing yards in the season, Skip? Isn't that your guy?
Who?
Isn't that guy in the purple and black? L. Jack.
Who is my guy?
You know who your guy is.
I don't know.
The guy he got the 2 most passing yard game this season.
Oh, I thought you meant Dak Prescott.
No. Oh, no, you got 2 guys. You got a bunch of guys.
I got the right guys.
But L. Jack went for 442, Skip.
And by the way, just point of order, you have been somewhat critical of him. He has to be more consistent throwing the football. Okay.
Was that not consistent?
I don't know how you can get much more consistent.
You can't get any better than that. Skip, they won this because Carson Wentz played as well as he's played at any point in time in his career. And
he had his moments.
And you're going to say, well,
it helps when you throw an early swing pass that Jonathan Taylor just takes 76 yards.
Yeah. And Skip, the field goal. Calais Campbell blocked one, and it's hard. I don't think anybody has blocked more field goals in PATs than Calais Campbell.
What is it, 6'8"?
6'8". And the reason why the guy hooked it, he was about to block the other one. Had he not hooked it, and he knew that. So that's why he hooked it, because Calais was going to block that one too. Skip, the Ravens won this one. Lamar Jackson was sensational. Yeah. And after you go, I'm going to show, because Tavon Young almost cost him the game. And
with the shove.
With the shove, Skip. But after you, I'm going to show you how I would have handled that situation.
Okay. I can't tell you how impressed I was with Lamar Jackson.
He was sensational, Skip.
Because he got off to a rocky start, as did his team.
Yes.
His team was not ready to play that game because they thought they had it.
I thought they
prime time home. We are going to roll. And all of a sudden, when you least expected it, Carson, your former guy, Carson.
Walking to him. He was walking into him last night.
He flipped it to him. and Jonathan Taylor gets loose. Flip it to him, wins. And he gets loose, and all of a sudden it's 7-0, and it seemed like the Ravens got knocked back on their heels, and it took them 3 quarters to recover on defense because they were just getting gashed.
They were
gashed by running plays where I'd say, what are you guys doing? Where are you tonight? And then Lamar had the fumble down near the goal line. And it wasn't Lamar.
Yes.
And yet they kept showing him sitting on the bench, and he looked unflappable.
Right.
Usually a quarterback in that situation might be hanging his head a little bit. He was just sort of like looking around like, next. We still got game to go here. Just give me the ball back and we'll get going.
Right.
So back to Jenny's question. Well, obviously, the Colts had to lose it before Lamar had the opportunity to win it. And the way they lost it was, they said Blankenship, the kicker from Georgia, they said he hurt his hip in the pregame. I don't know what was going on. It got so bad, they had to send in the punter to try a field goal, and he gagged it. And yet, Marlon Humphrey jumped off sides, which was another part and parcel. The Ravens just weren't mentally into the game. And they get another opportunity from 5 yards closer, and then it's 37. And weirdly, they send Blankenship into the game. And he made it. Okay, but these games, all these close games come down to place kicking. I hate place kicking.
Especially this weekend, Skip.
I hate it. I don't like anything about it. It's so gimmicky. And little guys who kick soccer style are sent onto the field to decide a battle between great football players when that little guy doesn't even belong on the field. He can't play football the way you played football, right?
Yeah.
And we got these weird gimmicky uprights, so you have to boot the ball up through the upright or left or right if it's going to miss.
Right.
So it comes down to, if we could just see what Blankenship did, so it comes down to a missed extra point. That was a huge missed extra point, right? If we could see his blunders. And then, obviously, he got the one blocked. Maybe we don't. Here we go. Okay, that's the offsides. And he gets another shot. Yeah, that's Marlon Humphrey. And then he comes in and makes it, which was bizarre. And now we go to missed. Oh, that's the other make.
That's the other make.
Yeah, and here comes the block kick. Calais just barges through the middle of the line, gets up and gets fingertips on it.
This is it.
Yeah,
I think this is the block.
Yeah, here's the block.
Oh.
No, we'll get them right. But whatever. You get the point where...
This is it. That's it.
Block. And finally, we get the miss.
Right.
At the end. And I agree with you. I think he was gun shy.
Look at Calais.
He jumped and he snap hooked it.
Yep.
And if he makes that, it's from 47. Well, it's very makeable.
Right.
Well, then Lamar's not going to get a chance to be Lamar. Right.
He only has a timeout in what, like 30 seconds? If he has that?
Yep. Okay. So back to Lamar. I look at these numbers. I'm not sure I've ever seen one man dominate a game the way he dominated.
He took it over.
Because look, he rushes for 62 of their 86 yards.
Yep.
So he's by far their leading rusher. And then he throws, obviously he got overtime also, but he throws for 442.
That's a Ravens record.
That's 504 combined yards. It's extraordinary. And then to your point, what's the percentage? 86%?
85%.
Okay. And it started with a throw to Hollywood that you mentioned. And if we could see this, I didn't think it was a terrible pass. I thought Hollywood Brown had a chance to make this catch. It would have been a really good one. But I thought it was barely catchable. He just didn't make this isn't his route.
Right.
This isn't what he does. I just thought there was a chance he could get there on that one. I didn't think it was a complete, like sometimes Wentz will just throw wild high and it'll go like 5 yards over there. Well, that wasn't completely off target.
Maybe that's a throw, Skip. You throw it to the back pylon, let him run up under.
A little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, but
that's a difficult throw that he was trying to make right there.
It was, but it was just a little touch off. And I'm sure as soon as that happened and it looked like the whole game was going south for the Ravens, I figured, well, Twitter's going to be all over him. He can't throw. He can't throw. And then magic happened.
Right.
And what I love the most about Lamar Jackson, I've told you this 100 times, he has got a competitive backbone in him, unlike any in this league, as far as, I know there's Tom Brady. He's sort of up here in this other echelon, and he's done it so many times. But listen, when it's time, you just see that look in his eye, as we saw against Kansas City in the big stage
AFC
night game. Well, no, I mean even I'm talking about Lamar against.
Oh, Lamar, okay, yeah.
Where you just see the look in his eye, he's just not going to be denied, and he doesn't ever doubt himself. He just keeps on keeping on, and once he got in rhythm, and it started with, ironically, the bomb to Hollywood, and I couldn't believe that the Colts would give this up. But
they running out of DB, Skip.
Okay, so remember, to frame this, if we could see the throw to Hollywood, this was sweet. And don't tell me, this is the one where you say, he can't throw? Seriously?
This is what we call a sluggo route. This is a slant and go.
Slant and go. And that's just a thing of beauty. That is
Lamar,
Brady.
Skip, look at him hold it. He holds the safety, looking to his left, like, Hollywood open.
I got you. I got you. And he hit him right on the button.
Money.
It was money. And from there on, he isn't a dart thrower. He's a dart flicker. He just flicks it. It's effortless.
Yeah, it is.
Like I say, he makes it look so easy. And he loves Mark Andrews, who's really good as a zone beater. Because Mark Andrews sort of gets that
big body guy. He can run better than you think, Skip. But he has a great relationship with Lamar. And every hole he finds it. And the thing is, the the Colts defense got tired. Yep. So now they can't get in. They can't get any rush, Skip. And Lamar he's just picking them up. He's like, oh,
bing, bing,
boom. Okay, yeah.
I'll try you.
And that's what happens.
Okay, and yet, to be fair about this, the Colts lost both starting corners, including Xavier Rhodes, who's pretty good.
Yep.
And then they lost starting safety. So they were down three-fourths of their starting backfield. Right. And by the fourth quarter and overtime, it was not a fair fight.
Exactly. Anymore. That's what you do. You take
and the rush was worn out, down and out.
Yeah.
Where they were so worn out trying to contain him to start with.
Because mentally you skip. You can't run past him.
No.
Make sure once you get even with him, level off. Do not run up the field and give him a window to jump out of because he's going to be gone because we got everybody selling back in these zones. So mentally, it's a grind, Skip. I got to pass right. There you go right there. Let me start leveling off. And so now, here in the fourth quarter, you're down 3 guys. Your 2 starting corners, your safety. So now you got the backup to the backup in the ball game. Lamar said, yeah, let me go and do some work on you guys. Hollywood, Mark Andrews, let's go.
Okay. So,
and he lost Sammy Watkins early.
He lost Sammy Watkins, who got stung.
Yeah. How he hurt his hamstring on that one, I don't know, Skip.
I don't know, but it was just a 2-man show as far as his receivers. It's just Mark Andrews and
Hollywood.
Marquise Brown.
Right.
Okay. So go with your play because this was a big play late that looked like had lost the game for the Ravens.
Can we get the Tavon Young play? First, because on Twitter they asked me if something like this had happened to me, what would I have done? Would you have let it go? Yeah, I'll let it go. I will let it go. I mean, Jack Doyle, that was a Bush League move. But come on, you can't do that. He baited you. You got him, Skip. It's 30. It's about to be 3rd and 24.
Yep.
You got him. Why you do that? Don't do that. Don't let him off the hook. And Skip, I said, yeah, a guy cheap shot at me. Skip, this is what I did. This was a Monday night in 2001. A guy, Perry Phoenix. Watch what I do to 35. Look at it. Watch what I do to him. That's how I got him back. He hit me in my knee early in the game, and I told him, I said, I'm going to get your ass back. That's how you get him back.
Who's 87?
Kyrie Irving. I motioned. I said, come on, Q, bring it to me. I'm motioning Q. Yes, I'll get you back. You want to be dirty? That's how you do it.
That's kind of a cheap shot.
No. His cheap shot was he hit me in my knee. I said, I'm going to get your ass back in the game before the game's over. Yep. And sure enough, I motioned to Q, come on, Q. And Q saw me at the corner of his eye. He brought him to me. I blessed him.
And you got him good?
I got him good.
Did he get up?
He looking around. I was standing on the sideline, flexing, doing my thing. I told you this day was a day of reckoning coming. You going to have to atone for your sins here or the afterlife. So I made him pay to do it right then and there.
So Doyle will pay at some point?
Oh, see, they asked me what I would have done. I got his teammate. If I don't get him, I'm going to get his teammate, but I'm going to make it look like a play. Now, see, you can't crack back now, Skip. It's illegal to block behind the play. But I get him back because you know how running backs, if they're not in the play, they like to loaf off the line. I blast him. Now, man, what's up, Sharpe? No. That's for your boy had did something to my boy. So I'm sorry, you get collateral damage, bruh. But I'd have got him back. I would have did it right there in the death, Skip. But I'd have got him back. I'd have got him or somebody back. But Perry Phoenix, the one that 35, he hit me in my knee on a low blow. I said, I'm gonna get you back. Come on, Q, bring him to me, please.
Did he want to see you at the bus or anything?
He didn't want to see nothing.
No?
He didn't want to see nothing. He didn't want to see the bus in the game at no point in time. That's why he cheap shot at me. But that's okay. I said, that's okay. All the guys, Skip, that's what you do. I played long enough. I know how to get you back and make it look like I'm actually trying to do something. Man, that was a great block. Nah. I got to do it in San Diego the same way. He head slapped me. Don't worry about it. Guess what I did? He came on a rush. Out the rest of the game.
That was a Hall of Fame play by Shannon Sharpe.
I'm going to get Skip. You're not going to get the best of me and think you're going to cheap shot me and get away with it? In what life? No, I can't do that, Skip. I can't let you get away with that.
Okay.
Because then everybody going to be watching the tape like, yeah, we could do that to Sharpe too. No, you can't. No, you can't.
No, I don't know about that. I don't think so at all.
No, you can't.
Guys, we've got to shift gears here because according to a new report, Ben Simmons showed up to the 76ers facility last night after staying away for 2 weeks to start the NBA preseason. The organization was apparently caught off guard by his arrival as they hadn't expected him back until later in the week at the earliest. The disgruntled point guard has already cost himself nearly $1 million in fines and lost salary during his holdout as he wanted to be traded. $1 million, I know it's not a lot in the scheme of things for him, but it's a lot for me. Shannon, will Simmons be able to coexist with Joel Embiid and play for Doc Rivers?
Not for an extended period of time. This thing is about to be incredibly awkward, given what he said about wanting to play without Joel Embiid, considering what Joel Embiid has said about him. He still remembers what Doc Rivers said after the end of that Game 7 in Atlanta. It's about to be incredibly awkward. But, Skip, he had to now, I disagree with the path that he took. I believe being a professional athlete, you also need to be a professional, which means show up, do your job, make it abundantly clear that you want to be out. But I believe Ben Simmons chose this path because he didn't believe they were taking him serious. He talked about, look, I need you guys to move me. Nah, Ben, we want to get you back. So Ben says, you know what? I need to take matters in my own hand. I'm about to make this thing uncomfortable. I'm just finna start kicking over furniture. Boop, I ain't coming. I'm about to turn over pots and pans. I ain't coming. I'm about to break stuff, rip stuff off the wall. So he made it uncomfortable for everybody. So if the end result is Ben Simmons get traded $1 million in fine that he what was the word I'm trying to use?
Right, I got it.
Whatever he chose to do, if it gets him out of there, it was money well spent. That's how he looks at it, Skip. Because we've seen guys, a lot of guys, what did Kimber give back to get up out of there and say, you know what, I can go to Brooklyn. Go to the Knicks. What did Blake Griffin give up? To get out of a situation? Now, he didn't give up. I don't believe he's going to give up what they gave up, but I believe he's going to get traded because he made it very uncomfortable. He let them know, I'm dead serious about this. I no longer want to play with Joel Embiid. I no longer want to play for Doc Rivers. I no longer want to play for the 76ers in this city. Now, it's about to get real uncomfortable, Skip. It's about to get real uncomfortable because things were said and guys are going to be in the same dressing room, the same locker room, on the same court. So it's going to get uncomfortable. And I believe the sooner the better for everybody that's involved, for Joel, for Ben, for Doc, for the team, for everybody involved. The sooner that you can move Ben, the better off you'll be as a team and as an organization.
So are you predicting immediate disaster for the Sixers? When the regular season starts, do you think it will show on the court that they are dissension-racked?
I don't know if it's going to show on the court, Skip. I just think the thing is it's going to be some uneasiness because, Skip, it's hard to come to work when you know somebody has said something bad about you and you got to work beside that person, right next to that person. And you know how your boss like, man, I don't know if we ever going to get this project accomplished with him on the court. Man, that makes for a very uncomfortable situation. But Ben, I'm a firm believer in being professional, handle it, let you know, like, look, I really know, like, I'm talking about like yesterday. I really need to be up out of here.
Okay. I stand by what I said when this all reared its ugly head in the beginning. I believe the Sixers do not want to trade Ben Simmons, and I believe they're going to do everything in their power to make this work again, to try to get it back to as normal as they can get it and hope that it starts to click again the way it did last year when all they did was have the best record in the regular season in the East and have the #1 seed going into the postseason.
Right.
It's hard to argue with the success that they have had together.
They've been in the playoffs, been all NBA.
And I believe that Daryl Morey and the Sixers ownership is entrusting Doc Rivers as, to me, the best mediator in the game as far as being able to peacemake among players. I think Doc is gifted as an orator and a massager of star egos.
Except that one time he wasn't good.
Well, which with the Clippers?
No, the time that he said he didn't know for certain that he could win a championship.
I got that. And that was a mistake. And he's tried to sort of gloss it over and hope that there's some forgiving and some forgetting. What Joel said, he stood by, and he said it was borderline disrespectful that Ben was even holding out.
Right. So how you think Ben's going to feel about that?
They're going to hope that the air got cleared through the media, that Ben took his stand and missed a big portion of camp and incurred the $1 million fine, whatever. Will they give it back? I don't know. Maybe they can. I'm not sure what the league rules are on that. There's probably a way to give it back. Maybe under the table a little bit. But you can make good on it, I believe. So I want to say one more time just how valuable I think Ben Simmons is, because we know he got the free throw demons, especially in Game 7, but really throughout the playoffs. And yet we also know he was the rookie of the year. He made then after that year 3 straight all-star teams through last year. And the last 2 years he made first team all defense. Little known fact in game 7 when he obviously turned down the pass and the dunk. And it was the flashpoint of that loss at home to the upstart Atlanta Hawks. Little known fact was that he held Trae Young in that game to 5 of 23 because he is a big-time perimeter or interior defender.
Right.
Take your pick.
Right.
6'10", long, gifted, smart, athletic.
Right.
He's got the whole package. Can he shoot? No, he can't shoot. Can he score? Yeah. When we saw him, I'm going to bring up that fateful game.
Can or won't shoot? I think it's more won't shoot than can't shoot.
I keep harking back to February 13th at Utah. No Joel Embiid. All he did was put 42 on Gobert, and he made 12 of 13 free throws. Don't tell me he can't.
Right.
The demons get in his head. He's a little difficult to sort of figure out,
right,
because he's like prideful to a fault.
Right.
And once he misses some, it's like, I don't want to be ashamed anymore.
Right.
And we've talked about Giannis. He has no shame.
Right.
He'll airball a free throw or airball 3, and he just goes right back. And the next thing you know, he's made 6 straight free throws. Well, I wish Ben had more of that in him because he's a very valuable player. And I think the Sixers realized we will be a little better with him than without him. Like, there's no way we can trade and get back equal value unless the Kyrie thing escalates to that point,
which it looks
where you could go player for player.
Right.
That would work to me.
But Skip, right now, the reported that they offered Ben Simmons for C.J. McCollum 3 first-rounders and 3 pick swaps. Well, ain't nobody to Skip. Okay. Nobody gonna do that. Come on.
I think it was lip service because I don't think they want to trade him.
I do.
Okay. And yet we'll see. But
Skip, they've tried to trade him before.
Okay. Well, the hard,
yes,
but they didn't.
Right, but because Fertitta didn't want to help Daryl Morey.
Okay, but that was different. That was James Harden.
But I'm saying, so that means they're willing to get.
Morey was in awe of James.
Right,
Harden.
but
so, yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll do that. Thank you, God.
But do you think they would? So they ain't trading James Harden for Dame. Portland ain't making that trade.
No.
There are certain players that we believe that's our guy. The mere fact that they even would be willing to include. Skip, my grandma used to say, oh boy, the loneliest place in the world is a place that you're not wanted. I don't believe Philly want him.
Yep.
I don't believe he wants to be in Philly because they included him in the trade. They've made it abundantly clear that this team is centered around Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid can say, well, let Jimmy Butler go and we brought in Al because I get all that. I get everything Joel Embiid is saying. But I believe, and Ben Simmons believe, that they have built this team around Joel Embiid, and I'm expendable. I'm just trying to speed up the process. That's all I'm trying to do.
I told you. This is a dead solid fact. This was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I got it from a high-placed source in that organization that they favored Ben over Joel for the duration, in part because Joel, something's always wrong with him. So they deemed at that point, it was 2 seasons ago, that Ben was more valuable for the long haul. So, and I don't doubt that they still feel that deep down. Joel's a 7-foot monster. When he's right, he's righter than Ben will ever think about being, to me.
But he's going to miss somewhere between 20 and 30 games a season.
All right, I got it. So, to me, my gut feeling is, I'm saying to you, I believe Ben will be there all year long. And then we'll see what happens in the post.
I think somebody's hoping that all of a sudden, Skip, somebody gets off to a bad start, and then, and then let's go ahead and...
If they get blown away by one, listen, the Kyrie makes so much sense to me because Kyrie would be a great fit with the Sixers.
With a guy that can shoot from the outside, can handle the ball, put him in the pick and roll with him and Joel Embiid.
And to me, Kyrie and James are kind of not a great fit for the Nets, even though it worked when they were together, which was very few times last year. But you put Ben in that starting rotation with let James be the point guard and Kevin on one wing. Now let Ben do what he does. Just let him be a player. Like Blake was last year. He was just a basketball player. He just did whatever needed to get done. Well, I think that would make them equally strong.
Right. You can play pick. Now James Harden can play pick and roll with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons rolling to the basket, dunking the ball, laying it up, or, shooting a little floater.
And it makes you stronger defensively.
Absolutely.
Because Kyrie is not exactly a top-level defender.
Because you can take Ben Simmons and put him on the opposing team's best player.
Absolutely. So I think that's like fit for fit.
Right.
The trade that makes both teams maybe not better, but at least as good.
Yes.
Right? That's the only one that makes sense. And we're going to talk about Kyrie in a few minutes because it seems like that thing's on hair trigger now.
Yeah.
Like it almost feels like Kevin and James are starting to turn on him.
You know it
and
was.
Starting to say, well, wait a second, we can't even depend on him to play. Yeah, okay, so why,
there you have it.
Why do we even want to go forward with it? Okay.
So, but I just think the thing is that Ben Simmons caused the ruckus that he wanted, let him know that he was serious about wanting to get out.
He made his point.
Yes.
And he took his stand.
Right.
Okay, so here we go.
So you believe he plays the whole season?
I do, unless the Kyrie trade materializes.
Right. The Kyrie, it just makes sense, Skip.
Okay, I don't know if Kyrie would sit still.
Well, that ain't got nothing to do with that.
Because Kyrie's saying, I brought Kevin here, and now you want me out of here?
Yeah, you brought Kevin, but I can't. Skip, how you going to work half the year? You get a job and say, I'm going to work half the year.
You can't do it. I know.
And then you take off. Skip, I just can't leave all of a sudden. You show up like, well, where's Shannon? And then I call after the show. I call Charlie and Witt. Man, I ain't going to be there for a while. I'll get back with. What kind of bull job is that?
Over vaccination.
Yeah.
No.
But that wasn't over no vaccination. That's just like he needed some time.
Yeah, no, I got it. Right.
What?
Taking some time. I don't think that would work for us, Shannon.
No, I don't think so either, nor should it.
We're a team.
No.
Jeez, we all got to be here.
No mercy.
Later today, it's Game 4 of the ALDS as Jose Altuve and the Astros look to punch their ticket to the next round while Tim Anderson and the White Sox try to force a Game 5. It all starts today, 1:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. The Ravens won their 4th straight game last night and are once again looking like a Super Bowl contender. Meanwhile, the Bills, Chargers, Bucks, Cardinals, and Cowboys are all coming off big wins this weekend as everyone in the league has now played 5 games. We're into this thing. Shannon, who is the best team in the NFL right now?
I would go with the Bills. Skip, I mean, you look at they have the number 1 scoring offense at 34 points a game, the number 1 scoring defense at only giving up 13 points a game, number 2 pass defense, number 3 rush defense, and the weapons, going out and getting Emmanuel Sanders to pair him with Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, Cole Beasley, Josh Allen is the top 5 quarterback. They don't have the greatest running game. There are some teams that have better running games. Yep. They might be a team that have a better passing game. There might be a team that have a better defense. But when you combine all those things together, I think the Buffalo Bills sits atop the pecking order right now, Skip. They're loaded. They're a very good team. They're very well coached. Leslie Frazier has that defense playing unbelievable. Brian Daboll is doing an unbelievable job with the offense. They do enough run. They let the quarterback draw. They let him run it. He can get out of harm's way, and he has a hollister for an arm. Mm-hmm. So right now, Skip, I'm not saying they have the best offense. I'm not saying they have the best defense or individually. But when you combine it, it says who has the best team. I'll take the Buffalo Bills. I know the Chargers have something special going. I know Tampa, and Jenny mentioned the Cowboys. But right now, 5 games into the season, I think the Buffalo Bills are the most complete team.
Okay, I cannot get past what happened to the Buffalo Bills at Buffalo in Week 1. Mm-hmm. The Pittsburgh Steelers, for whom you have little to no respect or regard, went in there and beat them 23-16 by trailing 10-0 at halftime and winning the second half 23-6.
Yeah.
And Big Ben looked pretty Big Ben-ish in the second half of that game. He threw for 131 yards, made some big throws, and that defense rose up and just shut down Josh Allen and company at home. I know it seems like long ago. It was 5 games ago, right? Mm-hmm. It still counts on this season.
Right.
And in the second half, T.J. Watt had 2 sacks, and Minkah Fitzpatrick and Devin Bush each had 10 tackles for the game. Mm-hmm. So my point is that they just got dominated in the second half at home, and it's on their resume. Right. So I'm like, yeah, okay.
Tell me a team that hasn't gotten dominated. Because the Bucks got dominated by the Rams, who got blown out by the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys got dominated by the Bucks.
They didn't get dominated.
They got dominated.
It was a walk-off field goal.
Dominated.
Dominated?
4 turnovers.
Are you kidding me?
They hung 31 points on you with 4 turnovers. How your defense, they can skip? Look where your defense is ranked in total yardage.
Dak Prescott drove them right down, and they took the lead with 1:24 left, and they left the GOAT too much time. 1:24. It took a walk-off field goal. They barely lost to the GOAT at the GOAT, and then they went and beat Justin Herbert at Justin Herbert and held him to 3 points in the second half. Are you kidding me?
And you realize he just went to my homeboy and just beat my homeboy.
Okay, good.
By 18.
I like it.
I know
that even increases the stock of my Dallas Cowboys, who, by the way, are about to get Lyle Collins and Michael Gallup back. And by the way, at some point pretty soon, they're going to get DeMarcus Lawrence and Dorrance Armstrong back in the defensive line. It's going to be loaded.
No. We're not talking about 6 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now. We're talking about as we sit here.
Okay.
The number 1 offense and the number 1 defense.
What's not to like about what Dallas has done? And again, they've played 3 measly opponents.
Yes, very measly.
But they dominated Philly and dominated Carolina and dominated the New York Football Giants.
The Carolina that just lost to the Eagles?
Okay. What did your eye test tell you each time? Because you're getting scared. I hear you every Monday over there. You're starting to come around. Is there a better two-headed monster attack than the Dallas attack? Because they can run it down your throat, and if you don't be careful, because Dak Prescott will throw it down your throat.
Here's the thing, though, Skip. Do they have a running attack like Cleveland, like Dallas, or like the Ravens? No.
Like
the Buffalo Bills. Do they have a rushing attack?
No.
But can the Ravens throw the ball even? Can they throw the ball like the Bills? What about the defense? When you factor that in, you think your defense is better than the Buffalo Bills right now? I'm not talking about when you get all your pieces back. I'm talking about right now. No, I don't.
I will give you that. Do I think the Buffalo's offense is as explosive as Dallas's? I do not. Is it as hard to defend as Dallas's?
Yeah.
I'm not sure anybody's is outside of the GOATs.
Well, hold on. Well, how they say if they're not, well, how the Bills are number 1 in scoring offense, even though they only scored 16 points in the first game. So how is that they're number 1 in scoring offense if they only scored 16 points in one game? Mm-hmm. So what have they been doing in other games? The last 4 games, 156-41. Mm-hmm. Can I interest you in that?
Yeah, they've had 2 shutouts.
Oh, what? You mean to tell me in the NFL you can shut somebody out?
They lost to the Steelers at home.
Hold on, Skip.
That's all you need to know.
No, hold on.
Disqualified. Don't tell me runaway.
I know I didn't, Skip. That's not what I said. Okay. I said as we sit here right now, Buffalo, I believe, is the best overall team in football. Okay. When you factor their offense, their defense, their special teams, can they throw it as well as some teams? Probably not. Can they run it as well as some teams? Probably not. But you look at, they got they got more takeaways than you guys. Mm-hmm. Can I interest you in that?
Barely.
No, they got more better. You second. They first across the defense, offense, takeaways.
We're second in rushing. First, I believe, in third down conversions. Dallas, who knew? It's like you have a vision of the Dallas Cowboys that was low before the season started, and you can't lift your eyes up in eye testing the Cowboys because you already said they can't be. They can't be. And you won't believe your eyes.
Skip, I'm not saying you guys are a top 5 team. You, the Bucs, and the Bucs defense has been struggling lately. Now Levante David's going to be out for some time.
Maybe just one game.
Right, because you got a long week after Thursday. You have a long week to get him back. But when you look at Buffalo and what they can do, Skip, they put the league on notice. When you go into Kansas City, even though Mahomes didn't play well, that's still a very tough place to play. And he's still capable of putting up monster numbers. So I'm going to take Buffalo right now. Now, if we take this, take another test in 4 more weeks or 5 more weeks, it might change. But 5 weeks into the season?
Okay. All right. Which brings me all the way full circle to my best team right here, right now. And I agree with everything you just said about the Buccaneers' defense or lack thereof. But I would like to leave you with a quote from one Leonard Fournette. He's talking about a conversation he had mid-game this past Sunday as they were obviously obliterating yet another opponent.
Yeah, but somehow Brady was still in there.
Yeah, Brady was in there because they're so afraid of their defense.
That was Brady. Don't do that, Skip.
Okay, so Leonard Fournette said he had a conversation mid-game with Richard Sherman. And he says, Rich came up to me and said, man, I've never been part of a team with so much talent.
Right.
And I'm telling this, Leonard talking back to Richard, I'm telling him and excuse my language, but this SH is different. At any time you have multiple ... Hall of Fame players, Pro Bowl players, and we come out focused. We put our minds together and understand the game plan and stay focused for the course, for the whole game, because they do on offense because they got the GOAT in the huddle.
Well, right now, I mean, I only see 2 Hall of Famers, Gronk and Brady. Where the other ones he see?
I don't know. That Mike Evans is probably on the rise out there. And he said either Hall of Famers or Pro Bowl players, because they're everywhere. Everywhere you look is a potential Pro Bowl player.
But
right?
I believe Sherman's defense in Seattle was better than this defense.
Okay.
When you look at it from top to bottom, the defense.
I will buy
now,
that.
offense? No.
Okay.
No. They're loaded offensively.
My point is, the offense is so loaded. It's playing at such a high level. I saw Steve Young on the ESPN pregame show last night saying, I'm sorry, but Tom Brady's the best quarterback in football. Well, I've been trying to tell you that. He is playing, to me, at the highest level, given also the weaponry around it, given the offensive line, which is superior. Tristan Wirfs just gets better and better, right tackle. He made the Pro Football Focus All-Star Team of the Week.
Yeah.
And I just look at it and I watch it function at the highest level. They're the best team because of that offense. Brady is leading the league in passing yards at age 44. He's leading the league in air distance once again, how far you throw footballs, because they are no risk it, no biscuit, plus dink and dunk. It's a tour de force, and they have 2 running backs. One's really playing at a high level, Fournette, and obviously Rojo is... I mean,
their running game, because, Skip, I bet you take Austin Eckler over Leonard Fournette or Rojo.
Okay, I got it. But Leonard Fournette really fits what Brady wants to do. And little Gio Bernard is fitting because he caught the first touchdown pass the other day. He's got some James White going on, right? I don't know what's not to love about it because they go so deep at receiver. We haven't even seen little Scotty Miller yet this year. We saw him a couple of plays here and there. But my point is that everywhere I turn, I see depth at they've got 3 tight ends. Gronk hadn't even been playing. I think he might play this Thursday night, but
I would hold him out again.
Okay, well, they might, because they probably think we can probably be okay at Philly. I think it'll be a battle, but they'll probably be okay. But the point is, with Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard, who caught a big ball the other day, and you said, oh, there he is, you know, and he's still learning, but I've never seen such depth of firepower on one offense as I've seen on this offense with that guy operating at the highest level. It's hard for me. It's like they're in a league of their own right now on offense. I don't think anybody can touch them on scoring points.
Well, I think it's going to be very interesting because I think Buffalo can score with them. The question is, because that's what you're going to have to do, because the Bucs offense is going to put points on the board. And that's when you play Tom Brady, you got to be able to match it.
You do.
And so I believe
that game is going to happen in December.
It's going to be that's going to be
Tampa.
Hopefully, we got it. Do we got it?
I'm not sure. We could check it out, but I hope so too. There's a good chance we have.
Yeah, that would be. But it's. I mean, you got some. I mean, you look at Buffalo. You look at your Cowboys. Look at Tampa, the Cardinals. You know, because all of a sudden the Cardinals got a running attack. Edmonds. Is it Edmonds? Edmonds, yeah. He can run. They can run. Yeah, he can run the football. With James, sprinkle a little James Conner in there. They got Williams got Ding, but you look at their receiving court and that quarterback with them legs.
Well, I got it. It's just, to me, Brady and company are up here.
But what about their defense?
Well, it's decimated in the back end, but they will get right. And it took a long time last year for them to come back around, but be brought to a boil.
Even before they got decimated, they gave the Dak through for 1 trillion yards.
Okay, I got it. But Todd Bowles, he's at the top of my list. He's up there with Belichick as a defensive coordinator.
And the Rams, you remember what old Matty Stafford did to him?
Yep.
Okay.
They played their Super Bowl the week before Brady and company were headed to Foxborough, and their minds were already in Foxborough. They weren't in
Brady wouldn't allow that. Brady wouldn't allow that.
I think he did for 1 week. Even let his inner circle do interviews with the New England media as they were preparing for the Rams. It was the perfect spot on the schedule for the Rams to win their Super Bowl.
It wasn't no Super Bowl.
Thanks to Coach McYay running up the tunnel.
You still hate on the man. That happened like weeks ago.
Okay, but he did that.
Stop running.
And then he paid for it the next week because they couldn't get back up after they won the Super Bowl.
But then he went to Seattle and got that one, and so he started running again.
Okay.
He gonna take off on y'all again.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope we see him in the postseason.
Nah, y'all probably go see Dallas first. And then you go, ooh, mixed emotions.
No.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, hold on. You mean to tell me might be your best chance for your Cowboys to give you something that you haven't seen in a very long time?
Okay, are you saying Tampa's going to be in the wild card round?
Skip. Somebody's going to have to go visit somebody.
Okay.
Somebody got to go visit somebody. You only get one bye week, Skip.
I'm sorry. I'll take Brady.
This is going to get interesting.
Over your Cowboys.
You're saying
you hear
that
right
now?
Well, I did it already. I took him the last time.
You hear that? CD.
I did.
Sleek Zeke, the freak. You hear that? That's what your man. That's what your man said.
Take him the first time, week 1, but a lot will have changed by then.
He's the GOAT.
Ooh,
you don't
this
bet
should
against
get
the
interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
No mercy.
Nets GM Sean Marks released a statement about Kyrie Irving's status with Brooklyn, saying the team has decided the All-Star guard will not play or practice with the Nets until he can become a full participant. The statement continues to say, quote, Kyrie has made a personal choice and we respect his individual right to choose. Currently, the choice restricts his ability to be a full-time member of the team, and we will not permit any member of our team to participate with part-time availability. So, Shannon, does this mean now Kyrie will be traded?
It's imperative that we continue to build chemistry as a team and remain true to our long-established values of togetherness and sacrifice.
Aha.
I've been saying this all along. Mm-hmm. Now, what this tells me, Woj reported that Kevin Durant and James Harden has been consulted on this.
I believe
With
that.
this statement, we already know. I keep trying to tell people, you think you got power. You don't. They got it. Now, they say, you know what, Kyrie? Now, when you want to get vaccinated and make sacrifices like everybody else has made, we welcome you back with open arms. But until then, we don't do the part-time. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, do people understand? Imagine you get hired for a job, you work a year, and then all of a sudden you tell your boss, I'm only going to work half the year, but I still want you to pay me. And I'm going to decide what days I'm going to work.
And by the way, you make $33 million a year.
Okay. And they say, look, nobody is going to be able to participate with Kyrie on a limited basis.
Yep.
You either all in or you're all out. Now, the choice is yours. Now, one of two things are going to happen. Either Kyrie's going to get vaccinated or they're going to move on with Kyrie.
Yep.
It's as simple as that, Skipper. They're like, we're not finna go back and forth with Kyrie. Our goal is to win a championship, not go back and forth with is Kyrie in or is Kyrie out. I think the Nets were like Shannon Sharpe. I was under the impression that he was going to get the vaccine. Yeah. I'm sure they were also. And then it became abundantly clear Kyrie's not going to get the vaccine.
No.
Then it became abundantly clear to those higher-ups, Kevin Durant and James Harden and Sean Marks and Steve Nash.
Yep.
Like I said, I believe Steve Nash was ready to move on a long time ago.
You're probably right.
Okay. You see what it is? I don't believe he plays for it. He gonna get that vaccine or he getting traded. Those are the only two options, Skip. I mean, it's not like he got A, B, C, D, or all the above. He only got two options, vaccine or trade. That's it.
Okay. Bottom line, good for the Nets. Good for Sean Marks and Steve Nash, but especially for Kevin Durant and James Harden because they had to sign off on this.
Absolutely.
And they said enough is just enough. As a group, they just called Kyrie's hand. They called his bluff. They just threw it right back in his court and said, hey, if you don't want to do this, and Sean Marks said it best, we respect his right to choose.
Yes.
They do. I do. You do.
Right.
Everybody. If that's what you want or don't want, go do it.
Right.
Don't get vaccinated. Become a conspiracy theorist if that's what you want to do. Become a visionary, an against-the-grain, mold-breaking thinker. That's what Kyrie at heart wants to be. Sometimes he says we're artists here, and his art is basketball, but he's got a mind in him.
Right.
He's got high IQ. He sees through things, and I love that about him. He tries to think below the surface, and he sees some things I don't see, but who am I to say that he's wrong? He thinks this vaccine is evil. He thinks it's, quote unquote, a government plot.
Right.
Whatever he thinks, that's fine.
To do what?
To control. Control him, control the black community, who knows? But we've heard all this, and I don't buy it. You don't buy it. Apparently, none of his teammates are buying it at this point. And yet, if he wants to continue to buy and sell that, it's fine.
Right.
Go do it.
Do it on your own time.
But don't do it on our time.
Right.
Because, unfortunately for Kyrie, as an artist, he's not a painter, he's not a sculptor, he's not an actor. He's a basketball player, and it requires, you can't go as a solo act to
It's
an
a team
arena.
setting. He needs to play tennis or golf.
Yeah, he could play tennis or golf because you can't go to the Barclays Center by yourself on any given night and sell it out because I'm going to put on a dribbling exhibition.
Exactly.
Right? I don't think they'll do it.
Right.
They might do it one night, but they won't do it for 41 games, right?
Correct.
Okay, so here we go. And as I told you, within the team concept, I'm offended by this. And I think ultimately they're offended. They let it go for what we've been doing now for almost 3 weeks of it. Yeah, they let it go, and they let Kyrie be Kyrie.
Well, they let it go, Skip. They let it go all summer because the vaccine rolled out. Now, obviously, they're a younger player. They're in a younger group, so they were probably the last. But the NBA says, okay, this is what we expect to happen. This is what we'd like to happen. So they gave everybody 2-3 months. Do all the research that you want. We got team doctors. We pay millions and millions of dollars to. The best. They can get access to people that the average person can't get access to. Skip.
Absolutely.
And it says,
He's
okay.
got the best information at his fingertips.
And
the best.
But he chose to go on Google and Google some stuff in a chat room. Well, if that's what you want to do, because he says something Sean Mark says something very interesting. Sacrifices.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do as a team. Because a lot of times, Skip, guys would have study. Well, I need to, I got this for my kid. I need to do this. But that's the sacrifice. If you want to be great, Skip, people are like, you need a balance in your life. Not if you want to be great. There is no balance to greatness. Because I can promise you, anybody that's ever ascended up here, forget sports, I'm talking about life in general, there is no balance.
There's no balance. You have to pay a severe price that can affect your personal life, your home life.
Absolutely.
It's what is required. And Kyrie does not want to pay that price right now, and they're all cool with it.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, but now it's time to move.
Right.
So I'm going to assume that the clock is ticking. He's going to get another grace period of, I'm going to just guess. Maybe they'll give it a month or so. Are you?
Right.
Because
that's his money.
Now he's on notice. Yeah, and he's going to start losing money.
Absolutely.
But remember, Andrew Wiggins finally said, I got to do this. I want my kids to have generational wealth. Okay, so he just said, it's for me. I don't love this. I don't believe in it, but I got it because I'm doing it for my kids. I think Kyrie's made a lot more money than Andrew Wiggins has over his career.
Right.
So I don't think it's a matter of money for Kyrie. It seemed like even for Ben Simmons, it became somewhat a matter of money, right? But not for Kyrie. He's good. I think. I don't know his finances.
Well, I never heard nobody say they got too much of it.
I agree with that.
Skip, that's the one thing. There's two things I've never heard people say they have too much of. Time and money.
Yep. You're correct about that. But he's now on notice.
Yes.
And they'll give him this little period of, okay, now you know how we feel. We're ready to move on. Are you or are you not? And if we go another whatever X, maybe a month, then I think he's on the trading block.
They didn't bull jiving around with Kyrie. Now, Nick Wright said weeks ago that it was brought to him that if they trade Kyrie will retire. Well, then they'll say that's not our problem. If we trade you, we don't care what you do after. We don't care. We don't.
Man, I am so disappointed in him because I'm going to drive home this perspective one last time. This team is the best team.
Yes.
This team is favored by everybody, consensus favorite, pretty solid favorite to win this year's championship. Right. And he is just he is derailing it. That's what he is doing. And yet they're willing to say, hey, we'll pull our ranks together and we'll go on.
We'll go it alone.
And I watched them last night, and they're still a pretty good team without him.
Yes.
Because they added Patty Mills, and LaMarcus Aldridge came back, and Millsap.
Yes.
And they've got some firepower there.
Ben Simmons, you want to play in Brooklyn?
Yeah. I'd like to see it.
Oh, that's interesting.
No mercy.
This week, Thursday Night Football is on Fox. Tom Brady and the Bucs are on a roll, but Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, and the Eagles might have something special for them in Philly Thursday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens survived an overtime thriller last night as they beat the Colts 31-25. Baltimore trailed by 19 points early on before rallying in the fourth quarter to force overtime, where Lamar threw the game-winning touchdown to Hollywood Brown, and the former MVP finished with 442 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, Shannon, you know, you've worried that Lamar's inconsistent throwing will possibly hold him back, big picture. So can Lamar be consistent enough as a passer to win a Super Bowl?
I'm starting to believe that he can, because what I've seen him do over the last 2 games, Skip, these are his 2 worst rushing games as a team since he took over as a starting quarterback. Yep. And over the last 2 weeks, he's thrown for over 700 yards. So what he's showing you is that I can win in different ways than me just running. Think about this, Skip. They said last night they're 2,000 yards ahead of everybody else in rushing since Lamar Jackson took over in the NFL. Let that sink in. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
I mean, nobody is 2,000 yards ahead in passing than somebody else, Skip. Yep. That's how great he's been. And so the last 2 games, the Denver Broncos and the Indianapolis Colts said, Lamar, we're not going to give you the run. Skip, if you take away what a team does best, because remember, we talked about it yesterday, what do you take away? Skip, stop the run. You got to stop something. You can't let them have both. If Lamar Jackson throws for 300, 400 yards, after you've taken his legs away, you walk to the middle of the field, you shake his hand, and you say, good job, young man. Yep. Stay healthy, good luck the rest of the way. That's all you can do. Because, Skip, you forced him to beat you in a way that you didn't think he could.
Yep.
And he did it. So what else can you do? There's nothing else you can say. If whomever it is, Derrick Henry, if you stop them and you force Ryan Tannehill to throw for 400 yards, you're like, you know, hey, Ryan, good job. But you got to take Derrick Henry away. You can't let him. Well, they took Lamar, they took the running game away, and he throws for 442, 85% completion, no picks, and 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
Skip, if he keeps, and like I said, he just needs to get incrementally better, just a little bit more consistent.
Okay.
You and I both know he's not going to complete 85% of his passes from here out. But Skip, he's building on something. He's getting confidence, and they're gaining confidence in him.
Okay. He won me over in his second year in this league. He got off to a rocky start, as every rookie seems to do.
Yeah.
But in his second year, all he did was win the MVP, completed 66% of his passes, and led the league with 36 touchdown passes.
He did that.
Just extraordinary.
Yes.
And then he fell off a little bit last year, 64%. He was 26-9, touchdowns, interceptions. And all of a sudden, I look up this year, he's 67% after that masterpiece last night.
His numbers are very similar to what he did when he won the MVP, if you look at his numbers as a whole.
That looked like an MVP last night to me.
Yes.
So what's the problem that he faces image-wise? It's not the prettiest throwing motion. Right. It's the opposite of Tom Brady's. Tom is long and flowing with the big follow-through. Lamar's is shockingly compact. It's right here.
Right.
But guess what? It's deadly efficient. It's right here. It's dart flicking. It's not even dart throwing. It's just pew, pew. It's from right here. And it works because the release is very quick.
Yeah.
It's not a cannon arm. No. But boy, it works. And that throw to Hollywood last night, the 43-yarder?
Yeah.
It just was right on the money.
The one he hit Mark Andrews on the deep over, Skip.
Oh, God. It was a big-time throw. So last night, even though he does, this is the one to Hollywood. That'll work. I'd say that's bingo.
Yes.
On the money, touchdown. And by the way, that throw turned that game around.
Absolutely.
They're down 22-3 at that point. So last night, he was Brady-esque to me. That was like Tom Brady at his best. It just doesn't look like Tom Brady.
Correct.
And so when he missed the first early pass to Hollywood in the end zone, which I did not think was a terrible throw, it's just a little off his fingertips.
Well, you rather him miss like that, Skip, as opposed to miss and get it picked.
Absolutely.
At least you got an opportunity to come away from.
Yeah, how many did you see hit the back shoulder pad and pop up in the air in the end zone and get picked?
Exactly.
Well, he doesn't do that. He really operates at a high level, and then there's nobody. Well, I don't think anybody in the history of the league has been more lethal as a runner, and I'm including our man Michael Vick, than this kid can.
He's sensational. Whew. I mean, last night's Skip was a performance for that. And just when Josh Allen thought, you know what, I got that AFC Offensive Player of the Week sold up. Lamar said, no, you don't.
I think he just snatched it
Lamar said, no, you don't. Nah, bro, you ain't getting it this week. I got it.
Well, that was something, and I do think he could throw a team to a Super Bowl.
Yes, he's only going to get more confident.
Yep. No mercy.
J.R. Smith made his golf debut for North Carolina A&T yesterday. The former NBA champion shot 19 over par for his first 2 rounds, leaving him in 81st place out of 84 golfers who entered the tournament. And afterwards, the 35-year-old admitted, quote, "I was nervous. I didn't really know what to expect." So, Shannon, what did you think of J.R.'s performance?
It's better what I thought it would be. Skip, that just goes to show you. You can be a professional athlete in one sport and great in that sport. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean automatically you're going to be great in another sport.
No.
And we've seen that with golf. We've seen great players. Golf is a different animal. And he hadn't, and you see these guys, this is what they've done basically their whole life.
Yep.
And they're smoking an ex-professional athlete that played at the highest level.
Yep.
So it's going about what I thought it would be. Hopefully he keeps his head down and he gets better.
It took guts for him to go out there and compete in a tournament that he's never been part of before, albeit against smaller schools like Elon and Gardner-Webb and George Mason and LaSalle and App State. But he finished over 36 holes the first day, 30 shots behind the leader. 30 shots behind, yet he did it. He went out there. He's pretty good. He's got a loop at the top of the swing that's a little weird, but for him to have the nerve and the courage to put himself on display at age 35, I was impressed because that was hard.
Ask Tony Romo how hard golf is, and he's really good for it.
Really Everyone wants to think they can do it.
Not at that level.
Great stuff today. We're back tomorrow. The Herd is on now.